If you want to read along with Ms. Mo, this story has pages you can follow. Just check the description below so that we can do it together. Hi friends, it's Ms. Mo. Are you looking forward to seeing a new story? Because I am looking forward to reading Amazing Grace. And yeah, because I've just been looking at all these pictures and I see this girl looks like she's into adventure and acting maybe. All these things that Miss Mo is actually interested in. I like to put on costumes when I was a kid and make pretend that I was. At one time, I used to pretend that I was Snow White because I lived on a mountain. I'm actually from the Virgin Islands, and I lived on this mountain, and all the butterflies would fly by, and I remember I would put my finger out, and I would try to sing that high note, ha 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 ha, that Snow White does in that 1930-something film. And so I had quite the imagination, and I'm assuming that Amazing Grace, or Grace, has the imagination that I did as well. And that's probably why today I like reading stories. I like to use my imagination. I like to do voices. And let's just take a look at what Grace does. So this is Amazing Grace by Mary Hoffman, and the pictures are by Carolyn Binch. Grace was a girl who loved stories. She didn't mind if they were read to her, or told to her, or made up in her own head. She didn't care if they were in books, or movies, or out of Nana's long memory. Grace just loved stories. After she had heard them, and sometimes while they were still going on, Grace would act them out, and she always gave herself the most exciting part. Grace went into battle as Joan of Arc. I love how they made their little costumes. That's fun. And wove a wicked web as Anansi the spider. She hid inside the wooden horse at the gates of Troy. She went exploring for lost kingdoms. She sailed the 7 seas with a peg leg and a parrot. She was Hiawatha, sitting by the shining sea. No, I'm gonna try that again. She was Hiawatha, sitting by the shining big sea water. Sometimes when you're reading and you try things, it doesn't always work out. But that's okay. I'm sure Grace did that too when she messed up. And Mowgli in the backyard jungle. Most of all, Grace loved to act out adventure stories and fairy tales. When there was no one else around, Grace played all the parts herself. She set out to seek her fortune with no companion but her trusty cat, and found a city with streets paved in gold. Or she was Aladdin, rubbing his magic lamp to make the genie appear. Sometimes she could get Ma and Nana to join in when they weren't too busy. Then she was Dr. Grace, and their lives were in her hands. Look at Ma and Nana like, oh geez, let me just sit here on this couch, relax, and let her do her thing. They're good, Ma and Nana. One day, Grace's teacher said they would do the play Peter Pan. Grace knew who she wanted to be. When she raised her hand, Raj said, "You can't be Peter. That's a boy's name." But Grace kept her hand up. "You can't be Peter Pan," whispered Natalie. "He isn't black." But Grace kept her hand up. "All right," said the teacher. "Lots of you want to be Peter Pan, so we'll have auditions next week to choose parts." She gave them words to learn. When Grace got home, she seemed sad. "What's the matter?" asked Ma. "Raj said I can't be Peter Pan because I'm a girl." "That just shows what Raj knows," said Ma. "A girl can be Peter Pan if she wants to." Grace cheered up. Then later she remembered something else. "Natalie says I can't be Peter Pan because I'm black," she said. Ma looked angry. But before she could speak, Nana said, It seems that Natalie is another one who don't know nothing. You can be anything you want, Grace, if you put your mind to it. On Saturday, Nana told Grace they were going out. In the afternoon, they caught a bus and train into town. Nana took Grace to a grand theater. The sign outside read, Rosalie Wilkins in Romeo and Juliet in sparkling lights. Are we going to the ballet, Nana? Asked Grace. We are, honey, but first I want you to look at this picture. Grace looked up and saw a beautiful young ballerina in a tutu. Above the dancer, it said, Stunning New Juliet. And now I happen to know something about this. We're looking at this Juliet, and she's a brown girl. So that's not something that was normally something you would see, a brown girl being the star of a ballet. And I think that's what Nana wanted her to see. That one is little Rosalie from back home in Trinidad, said Nana. Her granny and me, we grew up together on the island. She always asking me, do I want tickets to see her Rosalie dance? So this time I said yes. After the ballet, Grace played the part of Juliet, dancing around her room in her imaginary tutu. I can be anything I want, she thought. On Monday, the class met for auditions to choose who was best for each part. When it was Grace's turn to be Peter, she knew exactly what to do and all the words to say. She had been Peter Pan all weekend. She took a deep breath and imagined herself flying. When it was time to vote, the class chose Raj to be Captain Hook and Natalie to be Wendy. There was no doubt who would be Peter Pan. Everyone voted for Grace. You were fantastic, whispered Natalie. The play was a big success, and Grace was an amazing Peter Pan. After it was all over, she said, I feel as if I could fly all the way home. You probably could, said Ma. Yes, said Nana. If Grace put her mind to it, she can do anything she wants. And I believe that anyone can do anything they want, as long as they do put their minds to it. Have you ever been told that you weren't good enough for something, or you didn't look the way you should look for something you wanted to do, like Grace? Well, Grace didn't let that keep her down. She was sad in the beginning, that's true. But she had someone to tell her, hey, don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. If it's something you think you can, you just need to do your homework. You need to learn all about whatever it is you want to do. So if you want to be a BMX rider, you better practice on that bike as much as you possibly can. Gosh, just make sure you're wearing a helmet and knee pads and elbow pads with chin guards while you're doing it. If you want to be a ballerina, don't let anyone tell you can't be a ballerina. Yes, you can. I mean, it does take taking some classes and practicing a lot. You can't just watch TV and think that you can do something. You got to actually practice doing a thing. So I really like the way that Grace practiced her dance moves and said, hey, I can pretend to fly like Peter Pan. And it doesn't matter what color I am. I can just do it. And she was amazing, like her friend said. So good luck, my friends. On your journey to whatever it is you want to be, just remember, you have to practice that thing. You can't sit around thinking about it.